Yes, people, welcome back to Combat Kings TV. We're back with another video with you two guys today, and this is a big one. Now, I cannot believe what we are seeing on your screens. Now, this news came out last night. I was going to do a video on it last night, but I thought I wanted to gather my thoughts on it, gather true opinions on said events, and this is the news you are seeing. Coming from the Ring magazine, breaking from Mike Kupinger, Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul are finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell The Ring Paul steps up to fight former heavyweight champion after his exhibition with Gervonta Davis was cancelled. Now, just quickly on that fight. I mean, look, Jake Paul was meant to fight this weekend on Netflix against Gervonta Davis in Miami, and obviously that got cancelled due to said reasons. You've probably seen the reasons as to why that fight is no longer being taking place, and I agree with why it should be cancelled, because the accusations and the alleged stuff that's been going around regarding Gervonta Davis, yeah, it's beyond wild. And to be honest with you, it seems like that's been around with him for ages. So there's kind of no surprise this fight kind of got cancelled. But then we got this, that Anthony Joshua is going to be basically fighting Jake Paul. What? Now, before I give my opinions on it, there's been a couple of rumours about this fight for a couple of months now. When Jake Paul last fought in July or June, I think it was, there was a lot of talk about Anthony Joshua. And I kind of thought, could I see it? Could I not? It kind of more depends on AJ, really. Is Jake Paul actually got the pause to actually jump in the ring with Anthony Joshua? I didn't think so, but that's looking like it's coming to fruition. Normally, when the Ring magazine posts stuff coming from Mike, it normally means this stuff is kind of correct, and the media won't want it to blow up in this massive proportion if this fight wasn't going to really be truly taking place. Now, my actual thoughts, what my thoughts are, as a boxing fan, as an Anthony Joshua fan, do I want to see this? No, because I want that AJ to be on the road to be fighting Tyson Fury, on the road to becoming a 3-time world heavyweight champion. Now, do I understand it? I hear it, because this should be a relatively easy fight for Joshua. This fight should no longer be going on. This fight should go on no longer than 4 minutes. 4 minutes 4 minutes is the max that AJ should be taking Jake Paul. Like, should be taking him out in around 3 minutes. Genuinely. I understand it though. Netflix. They're going to be paying the big money, 80 to 100 million. You're going to be on ridiculous money, sensational wealth, for very easy work. It's not like you're fighting a world champion. It's not like you're fighting a top 10 or top 15 or top 20. You find Jake Paul. This is a guy that won't win it as Southern Aerial title. He won't win any sort of title really in boxing, despite him having some okay fights. But he lost to Tommy Fury, and he could barely hurt Tommy Fury. Yeah, he knocks him down with a flash knockdown, but I don't think Tommy Fury was relatively hurt. It's been a while since Jake Paul's really hurt anyone in boxing. I actually think he's regressed as a boxer. When he first started out and taking on like the Anderson Silvas, the Tyron Woodleys, I thought he was actually progressing and getting better. But then he started taking some meaty-ass fights, and I think he's actually regressed, if I'm being truly honest with you. And I understand it. Look, Netflix, it's Anthony Joshua. But I'm surprised Jake Paul is kind of taking it now, because I always said this for some while. I think Jake Paul was always going to have one big fight in boxing. And I'd take away Mike Tyson, but that's like 50-year-old Mike Tyson. I'm talking about against a big prime heavyweight in Anthony Joshua. Right? I always thought he would fight Anthony Joshua, Canelo, or something like that. I just thought he would. But I thought it would probably be his last fight in boxing because he knows if he gets knocked out, splattered, no one's really going to buy into the Jake Paul gimmick. Because we've seen you lose already, now we've seen you get knocked out. What's really in it if you was to fight anyone else, really? Because we'll just kind of know the outcome already. But as for Anthony Joshua, there's been a couple of rumors that he was going to fight in December anyway, coming from Eddie Hearn. He was looking like, potential cards. He could have fought on the Eubank Coloban undercard, could have fought on the Niue undercard in late December, maybe December the 13th card, the Africa card. There's a couple of cards that he could have fought on. And now it's going to be Jake Paul in Miami on Netflix. This is interesting because AJ's actually signed for DAZN. He signed with Eddie Hearn. He signed with Matchroom. So unless there's like some move away agreements in there, maybe DAZN gets some of the parts of the money, or they get to have some say on the broadcasts. At all, I don't really know. But this is massive. This is changing boxing forever. Like, we've seen some big crossover events. You've seen the likes of Tommy Fury, Jake Paul, KSI. You've seen Logan Paul against Floyd Mayweather. You've seen Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, etc. But this is another level. This is another level. That Anthony Joshua is taking on Jake Paul. This isn't even close in any sort of department. I think Jake Paul can hit hard with his big right hand. I think he's got some level of power. But that doesn't even matter. Anthony Joshua should be splattering this man. This is a guy who's an Olympic gold champion. Been there with some of the best of my era, and Alexander Usyk twice. A unified heavyweight champion, back-to-back, two-time world heavyweight champion. I understand it if he just wants to get the bright lights back on him again, easy money, and then maybe he fights in February or early March. If that's the case, I kind of hear it because it's light work. You don't really need a proper full training camp. I don't even think Anthony Joshua really needs to even train for this fight, to be honest with you. I think Anthony Joshua should be able to just turn up on fight night and ultimately knock Jake Paul out with very ease and capabilities, if I'm being truly honest with you. Hence why I think Anthony Joshua will absolutely knock him out in a round. He should do. This isn't WWE. I mean, it all depends on if this is going to be sanctioned. If this is sanctioned, I really do worry for Jake Paul's health. And we've seen in times, recent fighters who have been damaged by, big blows. Look at Fraser Clark, by the way, his cheeks were just sunk in. And when he fought Fabio Wally not too long ago, Riyadh. But that's two pros against the pros. If Anthony Joshua was to land clean on Jake Paul, I'll be considerably worried for his long-term health. And I'm not even being thingy here. Look at the way he knocked out Francis Ngannou, who only had one professional boxing fight. That's what Anthony Joshua should be doing to Jake Paul. Capitalizing on the flaws that Francis Ngannou had, and ultimately knocks him out. And that's what should happen to Jake Paul. There is a serious case where who is genuinely sanctioning this? What's the government body saying about this? Is it going to be an exhibition where no knockdowns and all that sort of stuff? If that's the case, then I don't know why Anthony Joshua is taking it, because does it haunt his legacy a little bit? Not really, because the history's there, that will never be forgotten. But if he was to lose, which I know anything's possible in boxing, if he was to somehow lose, the biggest upset, whatever, it will all be that. And Anthony Joshua will have no choice but to retire and never be seen again, because you cannot lose to Jake Paul. A guy who lost to Tommy Fury, who has struggled against some of the MMA guys. And Anthony Joshua, we see what Anthony Joshua did to an MMA guy in Francis Ngannou. If I'm Anthony Joshua, I'm going out there and I'm doing a number on you. You're going to learn why not to keep calling me out, why you're calling out all these big pros. Because you're going to find out real quick when you step in with a real live heavyweight, a real live prime fighter. I think Anthony Joshua's still got stuff left in the tank. You're going to find out real quick what ultimately happens. And that should happen. Anthony Joshua should be absolutely obliterating him. it's going to be interesting to see what the rules are, if it's going to be exhibition or if it's going to be sanctioned to a pro fight. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, right now, that's the only tweet that we've kind of got. They are finalising a deal. I expect an announcement probably in the next week. So yeah, we'll find out the real details then. But thank you so much for watching. Take care. Smash a like, subscribe to the Bayern View as well, my co-partner, and subscribe to my main YouTube channel, Footy Reacts TV. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Peace.